in a good space right now. Don't mess that up. Yeah. Don't push me, I'm healing for real. I talk to God, but I still feel what I feel. Peace on me heavy, I'm keeping it still. But don't get it twisted, I will if I will. Yeah. Yeah. Don't get it twisted. This ain't love.
Come on in the room.
Favor look good on me. Yeah, fit right. Everything I've been through, I still
Good
shine
morning,
bright.
good
I ain't
morning,
where
good
I
morning.
was. I'm in the new life. Favor
Come on
look
in the room,
good on
everybody.
me.
Hallelujah.
Favor look good on me.
Good morning.
What I lost came back better than that. God did it for me. I stand on that.
Good morning, Prophet Stephanie. Good morning.
I've been through pressure, I ain't fold though. Had to go quiet, play my role though. They ain't see the nights I cried alone.
Good morning. Y'all come on in the room this morning.
I ain't gotta prove nothing, I know me. Had to lose a lot just to grow me. Now I walk different, head held high. You can see it in me, I don't gotta try. Everything
Good morning, Elder Nisa. Good morning.
is showing now. Baby, look good on me. Yeah, fit right. Everything I've been through, I still shine bright. I ain't
Come
where I
on
was.
in. Tag somebody this morning.
Baby, look good on me. All on good on me. No cap, no cap. What I lost came back better than that. God did it for me.
Let me know if you all can hear me clear.
Baby, look good on me.
Let's do a sound check.
Chase our track now. I don't beg, I relax now. What's for me always
Good
find me.
morning,
I learned
Prophet
patience, it
Jennifer.
aligned me. And I'm still soft, don't get it wrong. I just got stronger, I moved on. I know my worth, I'm standing firm. Everything I got, I earned. I didn't break.
Come on in this morning.
That alone. Say who you are. Say who you are. Never look good on me.
Yes. Come on in. Come on in.
I still shine bright. I ain't where I was. I'm in a new life. Favor look good on me.
I'm in the room this morning. Good morning. Good morning. We're going to give them a few more minutes. Thank you. You can hear me clear. Good.
Everything I prayed for is showing now.
Come on in the room. Come on, get excited.
Everything I've been through, I still shine bright. I ain't where I was. I'm in a new life. Favor look good on me. All on good on me.
I don't own the rights to this music. I'm going to put that out there.
God did it for me. I stand on that. Favor look good on me. All on me. I don't chase, I track now. I don't beg, I relax now. What's for me always
Good
find
morning,
me. I
Evangelist
learned patience,
Yates.
it align me. And I'm still soft, don't get it wrong. I just got stronger, I moved on. I know my worth, I'm standing firm. Everything I got, I earned. I didn't break.
Come on, get your coffee. I know it's early.
That alone. Say who you are. Say who you are.
Favor looks good on you.
Everything I've been through, I still shine bright. I ain't where I was. I'm in a new life. Favor look good.
We in the new life. Favor looks good on you, ladies.
No cap, no cap. What I lost came back better than that. Favor look good on me. I stand on that. Favor look good on me. All on me. I'm not now they see me blowing out in my zone.
Good morning, Elder Nisa. Good morning, good morning.
Just to grow me. Now I walk different, head held high. You can see it in me, I don't gotta try. Everything I prayed for is showing now. Baby, look good on me.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to, I believe it's day 4 of the refreshing. So we are in alignment with the calendar, getting myself comfortable. How are you all doing this morning? I know some people are still sleeping, some people are waking up. I'm up and moving this morning, got up about 3:30. I am so excited. The things that we have been talking about, what I want to say is thank everyone for getting up this early in the morning, and those that would hit the replay. And just really, really, I hope you're getting something out of this refreshing, because I really believe God wants to do something with his daughters, really want to bring a refreshing to these times that we are in, where so many people are getting burnt out. So many women are feeling stuck. So many women are hurting, and there's no trust, and all these things that we tend to go through. I believe this is our season to get refreshed, get realigned, get our head back in the game, and just get moving, right? So, what I want to do is, I did post the link. I want you all to really register for this Friday Zoom. It's free, where we can talk about some stuff that I really can't get into online on social media, because some things, some platforms need to be private, and they need to be safe. And when I say safe, when I talk about certain things, there are certain areas and arenas that I want to be able to go into, but because it's open to the public, and when you kind of open yourself up sometimes to the public, you open yourself up to criticisms and things like that, and that's going to happen because you're on social media. But when you start getting in depth in some things, some platforms should remain private and cozy and all of those things. So this Friday, I'm going to have a special Zoom for the ladies that register, and give you some freebies, some things that are going on. So make sure that you hit the link and you register. I am going to try and get this link up for you guys. I posted yesterday. A lot of people said they could not see the link, so I'm going to attempt to do that right now before I get started, to make sure, and then you all tell me if you can see it or not. Okay, I am going to get this up and going for you guys. Let me copy it here, and I am going to put it in the chat. And let me know if you see it. I don't know if it's coming up on a different platform, but I posted it. So I did post it, and I will post it after. I will post it. Let me see. There it is. There's the link. So hopefully you'll be able to tap on it. Yeah, and I'm trying to post it in the comments too. So I hope you all can see it. Let me see. Put it on timeline. No, I don't want to do that. I'm not. So I tell you what, I got it right there. So make sure that you hit this link, and it is going to take you into. It's going to have you register. Registration is free, and it is for our Zoom meeting. Um, it's in the comments. Yay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Prophetess Jennifer. So I want to make sure that you all get that. Um, I want to make sure that you click on the link. Its registration is free. This is not at any cost, but this is going to be like, I'm going to do one this Friday, and then in 2 weeks another Zoom, and then at the end of the month, I would like for all of us to like come together and just eat, have some fun, just talk about just get refreshed. We go to church, we pray, we press, we do all of those things, but this is dealing with self, the heart, the mind, just really, really coming back home to self. So let's dig in this morning. And somebody says, Apostle Stacy, you need to ask people to sow. So if you desire to sow, and please sow into this women's ministry, Women of Vision Global Network, is $STA John 12. $STA John 12, and I'll put my PayPal up there and all of those things. So let's dig in. Yesterday we talked about drifting and what that really looks like, and I want to dig in. I want to go back and talk about that just a little bit, but I did not get a chance to finish because we were talking about the accelerators, the drift accelerators, those things that take you quickly into drifting. So we talked about the drift is not a moment. It's actually a direction, and it's slow as cumulative results of consistently placing everyone else's needs, voices, identities above your own until you can no longer hear your own voice at all, right? So we talked about that. And we named the primary drift accelerators, and we really got in depth about the roles. And the roles were being a mother, being a wife, a daughter, a caregiver, an employee, and every role that makes a demand. And when roles multiply and they consolidate into identity, the person disappears inside the function, right? And then we talked about relationships and relationships that require you to shrink. Somebody put that, relationships that require you to shrink, perform, or disappear. Unhealthy attachments, codependency, the slow abandonment of self in service of belonging. And then today we're going to talk about trauma and seasons and normalizing the drift. So trauma, let's talk about trauma because you hear trauma all the time on some different platforms and mental health. And since everybody is talking about mental health a lot, mental health is really, some people are stabbing at mental health as if it's not a real thing, and it is a real thing, and trauma is a real thing. And we live in a world now where there's so much trauma going on, not just with women, but with men and with children and grandparents. And it's just, we live in a world that seems to be sometimes traumatizing different individuals on different levels. So trauma is another drift accelerator, and it could either be big or it could be small. So teaches the body and mind to prioritize survival over authenticity. Many people have been in survival mode so long, they've forgotten that it isn't their natural state. So somebody, have you ever been in survival mode? Good morning, Evangelist Monica. Somebody put in the chat, what is survival mode? Because I remember a time in my life where I had to be in survival mode, and this is what they used to tell old school: put your feelings on a shelf and get back out there and do what you have to do. So anytime you put your feelings on a shelf, that means I'm going to suppress what I'm feeling. I'm going to suppress what I'm thinking. I'm not going to feel. I'm going to numb it down so I can get back in the game, and I'm just going to keep it moving no matter what, no matter how I feel. And that's being in survival mode. It's called fight and flight. I'm going to get the job done. I'm going to be on edge. I might be angry doing it, but I am going to do these things. I don't know why it just got dark. I don't know. Anyway, but yet the trauma, whether big or small, operating in survival mode, being here but not being present, right? Being doing and doing and doing and doing, and you're not even happy while you're doing. You're just moving, you're just going. And that's a big accelerator, because sometimes we can get so used to survival mode, right, that now it becomes our norm. Have you ever been in a place where things have not so been going your way, but then you're pushing in certain areas, you're moving in that fight and flight, you're always on the edge, you're paying your bills, you're taking care of your kids, you're cleaning the house, you're taking care of your husband, you got 2 jobs, 3 jobs, and that's survival mode. Or you could be single, you got 3 jobs and you still in debt, and you borrowing money and you're pushing, and that's survival mode. mode, when you cannot take a breather, when you don't know how to rest, when you don't know how to talk about it, you're in survival mode. And sometimes that becomes our norm, and it's easy to drift away from who you are, taking care of everybody else, taking care of business, and you forget that there's a part of you that you're playing that role. There's a woman inside the role that you're playing, but she has drifted away slowly, and you don't even realize it. Prophetess Jennifer said, not being able to show your real self. Yes, ma'am. That's when you drift, when you're not able to show your real self. I was thinking about something this morning, and my thought is, and I want you all to talk to me, because this is not a monologue. This is a dialogue. I like conversation. I'm a conversation person, right? So I was thinking about something this morning, and it popped. Why is it seemingly sometimes so hard to get to women? What is it about some women, not all women, but some women is hard to get through? Is it the things that we have gone through? Because sometimes we seem to be the most hurt, the most insecure, the most feeling inadequate. Come on, it's hard to get women to support one another. It's hard sometimes to get women to show up. So what is it? Is it a defensive mechanism? Is it a safety mechanism? Is it a trust thing? So yeah, put it in the chat. What is it with some of women in the world today, where we don't know how to support, how to connect, how to trust? Have we just been beating down so much? I mean, the competition and all of those things. It amazes me, because I was in a meeting, and I was listening to some women talk about women and how they prefer not to deal with women because of the issues that women have. And I can agree that we have some in-depth things that we have to deal with, but we have to be willing to, hey, let's take the layers off. And taking the layers off or refreshing is not a bad thing. It's a good thing to find yourself again, to want to be happy, to want to be free, to want to have a voice. Come on. So I'm going to talk about, Monica, safety, trust, defense, sometimes jealousy, afraid to be judged. I hear you. I hear you, ladies. When you got hurt so many times, you put a wall up to protect yourself. I hear you. I hear you. I'm afraid to be. It's so many things that we have to deal with just to connect. And then when we do connect, it's only with a few people, and we stay right in that so-called safety zone, and we don't even know how to make friendships. We don't know how to communicate with one another. So I hope this refreshing will even bring a healing to those things, those areas where we have been so hurt that we don't want to trust anymore. We don't care about being judged. Can I tell you something about judgment and people judging? People will always judge you. They will always criticize you. That sometimes, that right, Prophetess Jennifer, there aren't any safe places, but we have to be able to create those safe places, right? So one thing about your critics and people that judge, they're always going to be there. Right now, as I'm on social media, some people are probably judging me. There's nothing I can do about it, nor do I don't have the mental energy to worry about what people are thinking about me and how people feel about me. And we have to get to that point, because people are going to judge, people are going to say things, people are going to have an opinion. That's the world that we live in today, right? But should that stop you from being who God has created you to be? Should that simmer down your anointing? Should that dim your light? Should you let the opinions of others stop you from moving in your full potential? My answer is no, you should not. Why? Because it's not our job to police what other people think about us. It's not my job to police your feelings. Your feelings are your feelings, but I should be able to continue to move in the things that God has called me to do without all that, because that ends up being bondage, when we allow others to dictate how we move and how we feel. Come on, how we when we allow others to dampen the joy that we have because of their insecurity or because they feel inadequate. Am I talking to somebody this morning? We should not allow our light to dim down, or we shouldn't dumb down because we make or they feel uncomfortable, so we should be able to have that joy, unspeakable joy, because people gonna always try to judge you for some reason. If you skinny, then they'll judge you too skinny. If you overweight, then they say you're fat, and all of these things. If your hair is short, they call you bald head. If your hair long, you need to. I can go on and on and on about the things why we don't move. All I know is that we need to be refreshed. We need to refresh our minds and get a refreshing in our hearts and in our souls about who we really are. And the only person that we need to worry about is self right now. And it's not being selfish, right? It's not being selfish, but you have to be able to take care of you. So, and we have spent a lot of time, women, being in survival mode, taking care of everybody else, and then we look up at the end of the day. I remember when I used to be, a cosmetologist, and I loved doing hair, right? And I loved the transformation in people, but I also remember the brokenness of the women that used to come in, and it was so refreshing watching them transform just with hair and makeup, but the inside was still messed up. The inside was still broken. I don't care if you fix the outside up. That's important. Don't get me wrong. But guess what? If the heart isn't changed, how you feel about yourself isn't changed, it's still sometimes going to fall apart, and you end up playing a role. You end up becoming what you put on in the morning, and really what matters is who you are on the inside that reflects on the outside. So I hope this refreshing really, really is a homecoming for you, right. Let me look at the chat, because they are blowing up the chat, and I love it. I love it. Nisa said being judged. Jennifer said yes. Thank you for breaking those walls down. Apostle Stacy, Prophetess Jennifer. Nisa said yes. Stephanie said I learned that how someone feels about me is not my burden to carry. Absolutely. Self check. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So it's not your burden to carry, because people will people will get their feelings about you from different sources. Feelings change, so you cannot worry about that. And then the other drift accelerator is seasons. And I think I preached on seasons. You just have to know what season that you're in. So some seasons are grief. There's seasons of illness, prolonged stress. Did you know transitions is a season? Anytime you go from one state to another, and I'm not talking about state as living, sometimes the transition, do you know that even as you get older and you begin to transition into your older years, you can lose yourself in that, because you're still, some women, not all women, some women are still trying to hold on to 25. They're still trying to hold on to 35. They're still trying to hold on to 36 and 37, and they're 50, and they're 52, and they're 53, and they can't get past the face changing, the body changing, the hair changing, and it's some women, it really bothers them, and they begin to drift away and lose themselves, instead sometimes of embracing how far they have come, instead of embracing who they are now and what it took to get to this point, trying to stay in that place of 20, stay in that place of 30, sometimes stay in that place of 40, and you 60, and not really embracing the wisdom that they have learned, really having those up and close conversations with yourself. I am getting older. What have I learned? My hair is graying. What have I learned about myself? How can I pour into myself now? All these years I poured into other people, and sometimes the transitions can get you drifting away from who you are. Seasons that are hard enough to survive, let alone thrive in. The woman who got through the hard season often left part of herself behind to do it. Oh, that is so powerful. I'm going to read that again. The woman who got through the hard season often left part of herself behind to do it. The woman that pushed in the hardest season of her life, the woman that survived. When you say I made it through, the woman that made it through the things, I'm talking about how we drift, that thrust that you had to get through that thing when you thought your world was falling apart, but yet you are still here and you survived it. That woman sometimes leaves that part of the push behind after she makes it through, because after she makes it through, we tend to go numb and sometimes forget how hard we pushed. Where is the girl that pushed? We tend to leave her back behind and we drift away. Remember, drifting is not a moment, it's a direction. We tend to shift and take another direction, and it's very slow, and it's placing everybody else's needs above your own, right? And it's not about being selfish, it's self-care, right? So that is seasons, and we have to learn sometimes and realize what season that we are in, but still be able to refresh ourselves in some season. Sometimes you need to pull back off of all the things that are on your plate, all the things that you placed on your calendar, being available for everybody, but yet you're not giving yourself that much time even to relax, even to organize your life. Sometimes it's even cleaning your house. Come on, those things that we need. Prophetess Jennifer said a woman that serves needs to keep pushing towards a woman that serves need to keep pushing forward. Yeah, but sometimes we don't know how, and that's right. How do you keep pushing forward when you don't have a push? We have to learn how to keep pushing forward. And sometimes the way we have learned to push forward is push forward in my pain, but yet nobody knows I'm in pain. I'm struggling, yet I'm going to keep moving because I've drifted. I don't know how to talk about it. I don't trust people. I don't want anybody to judge me. And so we keep it all in and we suppress. And how many of you know when you suppress things, you become like this pressure cooker, and all it takes is one thing, and then you explode on everybody else. So when you begin to refresh, we have to learn healthy ways to talk about the things that we're going through. We have to develop safe places just to be able to talk and have girl talk. We have to be able to really iron out some of these issues, right? So we can help the young girls coming up and our daughters coming up, because if we don't talk about it, if we don't show them how to get through it without numbing, without hating on each other, without complaining and gossiping and all of those things, then how can we have to be the examples, right? And Michelle said, how do you push forward and you want to run away? That's called drifting, right? Hello, Apostle Cheryl. Triggers, and then you explode. Absolutely. How do you push when you want to run away? The question is, when you begin to drift and you forget the process of who you are and taking care of everybody else, the question is, why are you running? Are you running because of what people have done to you? Are you running because of fear of connecting with others? Are you running from yourself? Are you running from truth? I can't answer that question. It's hard to move forward when you want to go backwards. And why do you want to retreat or run away? And that's the question. That's because you have gone adrift. You really don't understand who you are, and you have forgotten yourself in the process of trying to love everybody else. And the question is, how can you pour that much love into other people and you can't even love yourself that much, and you start retreating? So we put more into others and we give less to ourselves, right? So Apostle Cheryl said triggers and then you explode. Absolutely. That's why I believe today we see so many people just exploding, wowing out, doing, just cannot take much because they have taken so much. They have taken so much in and not really learning how to have those healthy coping skills, that emotional regulation, not knowing how to set healthy boundaries. And then when those things happen and we suppress all of those feelings, and some of those feelings might be valid, but we suppress them. And when you suppress, you press it down and you press it down and you press it down. And this person did this and this person did that. And before you know it, something triggers you and boom, you just explode on everybody. And now you see a lot of people exploding on people because they don't know how to have those conversations, how to have those healthy coping mechanisms. So, another drift accelerator is we begin to normalizing the drift. The drift does not mean you failed, it means you're human. It doesn't mean you failed. When you drift away, it just means you're human. It often means you are deeply devoted to your family, your community, you're devoted to God. The drift happens because you showed up for everyone. You showed up for everyone. Put in the chat who has showed up for everybody else. You Johnny on the spot, as they used to say. Somebody needs something, you're there. Somebody need counseling, you're the ear. Come on. Somebody needs some money, you pulling out the pocket, you giving it to them. You show up for everybody else. We tend to normalize the drift. We normalize. I hear people say, I'm a giver. I love people. I help people. It's nothing wrong with that. But when you don't have the boundaries in place, when you can't say no, when you always say yes, when your no has no value, when your yes is overtaking you because it's always a yes. Come on. When we normalize drifting, been there and done that. I know that, Apostle Cheryl. When I love people and you're there for your family, you're there for your community, and you're serving in the church and doing and doing and doing. And yes, we should do these things, but there should be a healthy balance in doing these things as well. Show up for everybody else, but when it comes to you, they get the 80, you get the 20. And my question is today, we begin to show up for you. Today you're showing up for you. What does that mean? That means I'm present in the moment. Showing up for me is I'm going to do this for me. I am going to show up for me. I'm going to tap in to the things that I desire and the things that I need so I can grow. So then I can pour from a full cup and not a cup half full, right? There are expectations of you become a norm. Say that again. There are expectations of you becomes a normal. Yes, I got that. It is okay to say no. Yes, it is okay to say no. It really is okay. If you just can't do it, you just can't do it. It's okay to say no. And I like Apostle Cheryl. She said, there are expectations placed on you that becomes normal. So when you allow people to place those expectations on you and over, and guess what? When people place those expectations on you, we feel that we have to reach those no matter how high they are, we have to reach those expectations. So we're going to push and push and push and push and push to reach those expectations. And now this is my normal. So you give me a high expectation, I'm going to meet it. You give me this, I'm going to do it. And it becomes our normal. And then that's when we start to drift because we don't know how to have boundaries even in others' expectations. We don't have conversations when we should have conversations, right? So, um, I'm going to talk about a key distinction. Somebody put this in the chat, you are not your drift. You are not your drift. You are not your drift. Put that in the chat. You are not your drift. You are not your drift. I'm trying to see my chat. Yes, you are not there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You are not your drift. The drift describes what has happened to you. It does not define who you are. It describes what happened to you, but it does not define who you are. Some people have allowed to define them by what has happened to them. That it doesn't define who you are. It's just what has happened to you over the course of years. It's what has happened to you within your lifespan. Those things that have happened, those things that occurred, those things that have taken place, but it doesn't define you as a person. Sometimes the drift that is things that happen in the normal process of life, but then we tend to lose ourselves in the drifting process, and then we define ourselves as the drift. It does not. You are not your drift, right? Your drift describes what's happened to you, but it doesn't define who you are. So I'm going to ask you some questions like I usually do. Looking at your timeline, when you think the drift, when do you think the drift began? When looking back over your life, when do you think you started to drift away? When did your drift happen? Was there a moment, a season, or relationship that you can point to? When you think it was your starting point? If you can put that in the chat, you don't have to name names or anything like that. A year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, because this week we're reflecting, and then at the beginning of next week we're going to be doing some other things. But we're talking about drifting because sometimes we have drifted and we don't understand what it is, why I feel like I am, why do I feel like that I'm losing my fire, why am I not committed to myself as I used to be, what happened to me in the process. I can tell you for myself, this is I'm talking about Stacy right now. I know I pinpointed when I started to drift, when I allowed others to determine my destiny, when I started listening to the naysayers, when I started listening to people tell me that, oh no, I don't think you should do that. Nah, that's not you. Nah, and didn't think that I was doing that. I was really, I was valuing some people's opinions, but guess what? It was the motive behind the people's opinions that I didn't pay attention to, right? So when I started listening to other people instead of the voice of the Holy Spirit within me, I slowly started to drift, and I slowly started to change things in my life according to what they said it should look like. Because, oh yeah, I could do, oh yeah, I could do that. And then I started to drift. So you slowly drift away, and now you have your hands in 4 or 5 different other areas. You're like, what happened? You said this right here, and you listen to other people that allowed you to drift away. So that was one of mine, because I can be transparent this morning, and I'm gonna look back. Let's see. Let's look at the chat. Um, Monica said, when I got married, when my son, niece's raspberry. Renee said, when my mom passed away. Jennifer said, when everything else and everyone else needed more. That's good. That's good. Nisa said, when I lost my son. Amen. Yes. And then 1995. Stephanie said 1995. And and guess what? When you start to pinpoint, it's more than one thing that pinpoints. When I lost my daughters, plural, you just start to drift away because we take so many blows, but we don't allow ourselves sometimes to heal after the blow. We pick up the pieces and keep moving. And that's what we learn. We get right back in it, and we don't deal with these things, and we start to drift away. Another one was when there was so many distractions in my life that when I say distractions, have you ever had things hit you so hard? And like you said, like I talked about yesterday, you go from one season and you said, okay, when I get out of this season, I'm gonna do it, and then another season happened, and another season. I remember it was like it felt like the domino effect where you knock one down and the whole roll start going. That's how at one point my life felt, that one thing was happening and all these other things was happening, and there was no time but to breathe. I had to stay in survival mode just to keep sane while I was doing things. But while I was doing the things to keep sane, to keep from cracking, I had to leave Stacy behind. I had to, okay, the girl, go somewhere and sit down, and let me get in survival mode. And then without knowing it, I never went back and picked her up. Come on, anybody ever felt like that? I never went back and got her. I stayed in survival mode. I remember that time in my life where it was survival, 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 survival. And I stayed in fight and flight. I stayed on the edge. I stayed moving. I stayed going. I stayed being. I stayed giving. I stayed showing up. I stayed doing this and I stayed doing that. And I forgot that I left her behind. And then I looked up and like, wow, I've done all of these things. But yet you didn't talk about it. Yet you didn't allow yourself to feel it. You didn't connect. You slowly disappear. Remember I talked about you slowly disappear. Wow. Wow, that's good. That's good. Um, which of the four drift accelerators or roles, relationships, trauma seasons resonate most with your experience? Let me look in the chat and see what the ladies are talking about. Let's see here. I can only see a few comments, so um let me see. Jennifer, I did that one. Stephanie, Jennifer said that is not drilling the moments at hand. Okay. Stephanie, I lost so much that year, right? Nisa said exactly. And sometimes you can just, things can happen, and you can, sometimes you can't control how things are happening. The only thing that you can control is how you respond to them. And we're not taught how to respond. We're not taught how to respond. Pouring into others, but not pouring into yourself. Exactly. We're not taught how to pour into ourselves. We're not taught how to refresh ourselves. We are taught when we're pouring into ourselves, oh, you being selfish. How am I being selfish if I want to go and do something for myself? I used to struggle, and I remember years ago I used to struggle. I would sometimes pay people's bills and show up for everybody else, and somebody called me, hey, I'm sending some monies, and somebody needs something, I'm doing it. And then one time I remember I went to the store and I was shopping. I was, they called it window wishing back in the day, where you wish you could go in there and buy it. And at this particular day I had the money, and I went in the store to buy me something nice, and I was struggling buying myself something. That's too much. Oh, do I really need that? Do I really want to spend that kind of money on that? And it could have been like 60, $70. Oh, that's kind of high. Do I really want to? And I mean, I'm sitting here debating with myself to buy myself something as much as I give to other people. And I'm like, wow, I don't. And then I pick it up, I put it down. I pick it up, I put it down. I'm like, nah, I'm not going to get that. And I get in the car, and I feel so bad that I didn't buy it. And then somebody calls me and needs the same amount of money that I could have spent on myself. And then guess what? Send it to them right away without a second. That's when I knew, girlfriend, girl, girl, what is that? Where you can give to everybody else, but you struggle to give back to yourself. I remember that day. That sticks in my mind. You know, I constantly replay that. Why? What is it sometimes in us that we are so giving to others, but we struggle with the vessel that God has given us? Why do we struggle? We say, I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, but do we really believe it? I'm the apple of his eye, but do we really believe it? Do we treat ourselves like that? Jennifer said not being able to deal with what is at hand. Monica says, if I can see it, I was taught to keep pushing because it is a sign of weakness. If I didn't, absolutely. They would tell you you're weak if you don't continue to push, if you don't get up, people are gonna judge you and all of those things. And I'm not saying don't push. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying in the process, don't forget about yourself in the process. Michelle said, I had to learn to put myself first. It's a process, but I'm doing it. You have to learn, because you can drift so much that, and you can forget about yourself so much that when you wake up, you don't even know who you are anymore, because you have given yourself to everybody else. And that's why we need to be refreshed, ladies. So tell me, which of the four drift accelerators, roles, relationships, traumas, or seasons really resonates most with your experience? And then tell me why. We got the roles, we got the relationship, we got the trauma or the seasons, or did you normalize? Did you normalize these things? Which of those four? Monica said yes. Which is those four accelerators most most resonates with you? For me, I can really talk about the roles, and it was a couple of them: the roles and the relationships. Not so much seasons, but the ones that really impacted me years ago were the roles that I played, the roles that I put myself in, and the relationships. It was most of the relationships that did most of the damage. It was the relationships, the unhealthy relationships that tried to steal my voice. It was the relationships that tried to I want to say dismantle my character, dismantle my mantle. Those were those unhealthy relationships. Those people that were in my life that really didn't mean me any good, and those people that you pour into, some people you pour into that mean you good, but you keep pouring and pouring, you just don't know how to stop those things. So I can say roles for me, and relationships. You have to be able to identify the areas that you need the most help in. You have to be able to identify the areas where you drifted away, where you lost yourself in the process, so you won't continue to do those things. So put in the chat. Stephanie said trauma and loss, unhealthy relationships. Absolutely. So when you can identify the accelerators, the drift accelerators, we don't keep making the same mistakes, or we don't allow ourselves to go down those paths again and again and again, right? So put those in the chat for me. And then let's see. I won't have you name anything. And have you ever felt guilty for the? Have you ever felt guilty? Because I told you about the time when I felt guilty for the drift, as if it was your fault, or what has your drift cost you? Somebody tell me, what has drifting away cost you? What has it cost you? What has it cost you? Jennifer said, letting others control my next moves, out just caring for others, loss. Okay, Renee said loss. What has it cost you? What has it cost you? Nisa said roles and trauma. What has drifting cost you? I want to read something. Um, I want to read something to you all out of a book that I wrote. And this is powerful. Monica said, the role of me being a mom, I was determined to be not like my mom. She was an alcoholic and I lost myself. I understand absolutely. So this is for women. Renee said I did. I now have to catch up with my spiritual walk. Absolutely. So listen to this. The woman who will get the most from this refreshing journey is not the woman who has it all together. She is the woman who is honest enough to admit she has been running on empty and brave enough to do something about it. You do not need to arrive with clarity. You only need to arrive with the willingness. Clarity will come as you work through this refreshing process ahead, and by the time you reach the end of the 31 days, you will have a renewed vision that feels both familiar and brand new, like coming home to a house you forgot you own. Refreshing, and I put this in there, refreshing is not just a break. A break implies pausing the chaos temporarily, only to step back into the same mess when the pause ends. The refreshing, listen to this, is a full recalibration. It is the process of pulling your vision out from under the rubble of obligation, cleaning it off, and positioning it back at the center of your life where it belongs. It means coming back to life spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and creatively in a way that changes how you show up every day. So we're changing how we show up every single day. When I use the word refreshing, I'm talking about the kind of renewal scripture describes in Acts. Somebody put that in there. Acts 3:19, where the times of refreshing come from the presence of the Lord. It is not a spa day or vacation. It's a divine encounter with your own purpose, facilitated by honest conversation with God and practical action in our daily lives. It is allowing the Holy Spirit to breathe over the dry bones of your forgotten dreams and call them back to life. So that's what this refreshing is, that allowing God to breathe back into the dryness of our lives, allowing the Holy Spirit to come in and give you that refreshing that we are missing, because we pray, we pour into others, but when are we going to allow that refreshing to come back and show up for ourselves every single day? So put in the chat, what was your greatest takeaway for today? And let me tell you something. My hope is that more women begin to log on, more women hit the replay, more women begin to support. And if you like to support, the can't even think about it. The Cash App. There I go. Duh. The Cash App is STA John 12, $ STA John 12. But I'm talking about support, being here, showing up, commenting, doing those things. And sometimes that's the hardest thing, because people only sometimes support what they're doing. But if we can support one another, we can reach the masses. We can make headway. We can do what needs to be done. So tag your sister, tag your daughter, tag a woman that you know. She may not even be struggling. She may drifted and not even know that she drifted. A lot of people, nobody has it all together, right? Nobody is super duper perfect, right? But if we learn how to support one another, we can really, really, really make an impact. And I'm talking about coming out of the church walls. We can really make an impact in this nation, right? Right? Breaking free freely. Come on, put it in the chat. What's your greatest takeaway? And then I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Go ahead and keep the chat going. God bless you all. Have a wonderful and awesome, awesome day. Keep the chat going up. I love you. I'm Stacy Johnson. Last but not least, I want to honor my husband. I love him so much, Apostle Frank Johnson. I know he's going to watch the replay. Catch me on tomorrow morning. This is the refreshing. God bless you all. God bless you all. I love you. Keep the chat going, people.